There's a man in every room who says almost nothing. He doesn't fill silence, he doesn't chase attention, he doesn't explain himself twice. Yet everyone in that room feels his presence more than the man who won't stop talking. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The more you talk, the less power you hold. And nowhere is this more true than for older men. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why silence is the most attractive trait a man can develop, and how to use it starting today. Most men are taught the opposite lesson. They think confidence means having something to say at all times. They think charm means keeping the conversation alive. They think silence is awkward, weak, or something to avoid entirely. So they fill every gap. They over-explain. They joke to ease tension. They talk when nervous, and they talk more when they sense someone pulling away. And it backfires every single time it happens. Because talking too much doesn't project confidence. It projects the opposite. It tells the room, I need your approval right now. It tells a woman, I'm not sure you'll stay interested unless I keep performing. Psychologists call this approval-seeking behavior. People, especially women, can sense it instantly, even if they can't name it. The nervous system of the listener picks up on more than just words spoken. It picks up on tone, pacing, and pressure. A man who talks fast, fills every pause, and rushes to justify himself is broadcasting anxiety, whether he means to or not. This is the trap. The harder a man tries to prove his value through words, the more he devalues himself. But here's where it gets interesting. There's one trait that flips this entire dynamic completely on its head. It costs nothing. It requires no charisma, no jokes, no social tricks. It's silence. Used correctly, it becomes the most magnetic force a man can carry into any room he enters. Silence works because it signals something words simply can't. When a man speaks less but means what he says, people start paying closer attention. Every word carries weight because it isn't buried under noise. Think about the people you respect most. Chances are, they don't ramble. They pause before responding. They let a question sit in the air instead of rushing to fill it. That pause does something powerful. It signals self-control. It says, I don't need to react instantly. I'm not run by nerves or urgency. That message lands louder than any explanation. In psychology, this connects to something called perceived status. Research on nonverbal communication shows people with higher social status tend to speak less and listen more in group settings. Lower status individuals often over-explain to secure their position. So when a man stays quiet, calm, present, and unbothered, the brain of everyone around him reads that as status, not coldness or disinterest. Women are highly attuned to social cues. Confidence without noise reads as authenticity. Confidence with constant noise often reads as insecurity wearing a mask that fools almost no one. Silence also creates space, and space creates curiosity. When a man doesn't explain every thought, people start wondering what's behind the calm. That mystery pulls people in far more than words. Now here's the part most people miss completely. This isn't just about silence in general. Age changes everything about how silence is perceived, and that's where older men have a real edge. A 22-year-old who stays quiet might come across as shy or unsure of himself. But a man in his 40s, 50s, or 60s doing the same thing reads completely differently to everyone watching. Age adds context. It tells the brain, this man has lived, he's seen things, he doesn't need to prove himself anymore. Silence from an older man doesn't feel like avoidance, it feels earned. Life experience does something specific to a man's presence. Every hard conversation he's survived, every failure he's recovered from, every mistake he's learned from, all of it shows up as calm. Not because he's forgotten how to feel, but because he's learned what's actually worth reacting to. This is emotional regulation, and it's genuinely rare among people of any age today. Most people react to almost everything. Older men who've done real inner work have learned to respond instead of react, and that difference is instantly visible to anyone paying attention closely. Women often describe this as feeling safe around a man. Not boring, safe. Like nothing can rattle him. Like he's already been tested by life and passed every single test. That sense of safety is one of the most attractive qualities a man can offer, and it's built through silence, not speeches. So how does a man actually use this in real life? Because there's a real difference between powerful silence and simply being distant. Let's get practical. First, stop filling every pause. In conversation, when there's a gap, resist the urge to jump in. Let it breathe. Most people are uncomfortable with silence, so simply not rushing to fill it already sets you apart from almost everyone else in the room. Second, answer questions in fewer words. Instead of a 3-sentence explanation, try one clear sentence. Let people ask follow-up questions if they want more. This keeps you in control. Third, listen fully before responding. Most people are already planning their reply while the other person is still talking. Older men who master silence do the opposite completely. They listen completely, pause, then respond. That pause alone builds massive respect. Fourth, don't over-explain your decisions. If you say no to something, you don't need 3 reasons why. That doesn't work for me is a complete sentence on its own. Justifying yourself repeatedly signals doubt even if you don't actually feel any doubt inside at all. Fifth, use eye contact instead of words. A calm, steady gaze during a pause communicates more confidence than filling that same moment with unnecessary chatter or nervous small talk. None of this requires charisma. It requires restraint. And restraint is something any man can build starting today. But there's a warning here, because getting this wrong backfires badly. If you get this wrong, silence stops being powerful and starts working against you instead. The biggest mistake is confusing silence with disengagement, which are 2 very different things. Powerful silence is present. You're still listening, still making eye contact, still emotionally in the room. Disengaged silence is checked out, arms crossed, eyes wandering, energy completely flat. People can feel the difference immediately. One reads as strength, the other reads as rejection. Second mistake, using silence to punish someone deliberately during a disagreement or conflict. Going quiet to manipulate or guilt another person isn't confidence, it's control through withdrawal. That's not attractive, it's manipulative. And people eventually recognize it for exactly what it is. Third mistake, silence without substance underneath it. If a man says nothing because he genuinely has nothing to offer, no insight, no depth, no presence, silence won't save him. Silence only works when there's something real underneath it. It's not a replacement for character, it's an expression of it. The goal isn't to become quiet just as a trick. The goal is to become the kind of man who's earned the right to be calm, because he's dealt with life, and he doesn't need noise to prove anything to anyone. Here's the core truth of everything we covered today. Talking too much comes from a need for approval. Silence, used the right way, comes from genuine security and self-respect. Older men have a natural advantage here, because age adds credibility to calm. But that calm has to be real. Built through actual life experience, self-control, and honest presence. If you want to be more respected, more attractive, and more magnetic, stop trying to win people over with more words. Start winning them over with fewer, better ones instead. If this video gave you something to think about, let me know in the comments. Have you noticed this in your own life, with men who say less, or in yourself? If you found this valuable, hit like, subscribe for more videos like this, and share it with a man in your life who needs to hear this message. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.